Please join me in welcoming to the stage Ryan Burr, our lead sales engineer from Attentive.
I am Ryan Burr. I'm the manager of the sales engineering team that focuses on expansion efforts within Attentive. So I have the glorious responsibility of working with all of our largest customers, talking about our new products and our differentiated offerings. I'm also a verifiable email nerd, so if you find me after this, feel free to pull me to the side and grill me about anything I talk about today. That's totally fine with me. Spent the last 15 years in the email space on the vendor side, working with groups like SendGrid and Twilio before winding up at Attentive. The only reason I really share that, though, is because Movable Inc.'s been on my radar for decades now, and frankly, a big honor to be able to speak at this event on behalf of Attentive here. Primarily, though, Movable Inc. is one of those solutions that as a sales engineer, when you see them in a tech stack, you feel immediately comfortable, because your customer is going to be able to achieve personalization at scale in a way that doesn't break the marketer, which is really important in today's world, and as we're going to talk about with the path of personalization, the stakes have never been higher to give your customers that level of personalization that, frankly, they expect nowadays. Now, with Movable Inc. today, we work primarily with Studio. I'm really trying to grease the wheels on DaVinci as well, though, because I want that. But we're seeing true cross-channel personalization at scale, being able to personalize not only in the MMS, but also the email copy using Studio, hyper open time personalization, you guys all know. But extremely powerful partnership, one of my favorite partners within the Attentive ecosystem. Now, going back into the path of personalization, you in the marketing field probably know this better than I even do. But over the last few years, we've seen that the market has grown considerably in DTC marketing. And actually, we've seen it explode over 6 times its original size over the last 3 years. Your customers are feeling that tone. They're getting attacked in their inboxes and their message apps. And they're starting to tune it out, frankly, to our best degree of segmentation and loyalty. It's becoming hard to retain customers. Furthermore, we're seeing a 10% reduction in repeat purchases across the board with retail marketers. And a stat that I don't have on here, which is equally important, though, is 75% of consumers, per our consumer studies, have told us that they're willing to leave a brand that they've shown loyalty to if a competitor is able to give them a more personalized experience. So again, the stakes have never been higher to be able to win. Now, another question we've been asking our own marketers, and I'm curious with this group, if we can all raise our hands here, how many have actually changed marketing strategy as a result of tariffs this year? Anyone out there? No? Wow, it's crazy. Either way, 67% of marketers told us that they have changed their tactics, which is wild that this must be the control group that we're always talking about. But here we are. I mean, not only has it been harder to target and acquire and retain customers, but now our prices cost more, or at least we're feeling that in the red. So discounting and different strategies that we used to use aren't as prominent today. Now, I'm going to try this one more time. I know you guys just got back from lunch. Now, we did actually want to have some real-time game time is what we call it, but the ability for you guys to send in an MMS and then we would see what you voted for, but we'll do it with hands again. We're also asking all of our marketers at Attentive, what channel do you find most effective in this current economic climate? And so I'm going to ask you guys the same question. Let's see hands for anyone who thinks paid search is the most effective channel right now in the market. A couple growth people in the back. It's good to see you guys. What about SMS? I'm here representing Attentive. Love to see some hands up for that. All right? Younger demographics, yeah? Couple, all right. What about push? My loyalty app people? All right. It's a higher number than I would actually expect comparative to SMS, but I am an Attentive guy, so that's all right. And then last but certainly not least, email. How many people think email is the most effective channel right now? All right, that actually corresponds pretty directly with what we've seen from our own base, so that's good to see. Paid search is still sitting strong around 50% where we've traditionally seen it, but marketers seem to be gravitating back to own channels. SMS and email primarily. I'm going to talk about push in a little bit, though, for all the loyalty app people out there. And this is just validating that marketers want to have control over their own destiny. and that they feel confident with channels they've been using for a while now. Now, another hopeful stat here, not to make it all doom and gloom for everybody, is that we're seeing that our subscribers don't always need a discount to be able to convert with a program. And there's actually a ton of different types of messages we can be sending that are personalized, right, to drive that interest and engagement or higher level of conversion rate with our customers. Things like product recommendations, product launches that are tied to maybe a previous purchase that someone's purchased from you in the past. Care and styling tips, how to wash that sweater, how to stylize that tie with the new suit. And even things like giving feedback and reviews. These are all different ways that we can tie a good user experience or good consumer experience without having to discount our products in today's market. And furthermore, we're actually seeing this trend really differentiate across different generations at the moment, which has been really interesting as we tear through our own data. Gen Z, as many would imagine, really likes to tie to brands that seem to have the same values as them. So we're seeing a lot of connection when you can tell a cohesive story of why your brand stands for those values. We also see things like invites and events and getting people to come from the digital to the physical world is driving a lot of engagement with this cohort. Millennials, my generation, very interested in tips and tricks. I want to know how to stylize clothes that I buy. I'm also interested in giving feedback whenever I can, especially if that's going to result in a more personalized experience in the future. And finally, certainly not last or not least, I guess, Gen X, boomers. Largely seeing that this group still loves giving feedback, loves to see reviews, wants to see social proof before they go about buying a product. And one of the last stats I'm going to leave you with is that 85% of the subscribers that currently subscribe to any of your SMS programs are also probably email subscribers. Now, why does that matter, right? Well, one, I work for a brand that currently sends email and SMS, so it's really important to us that people think about consolidating, as a bunch of the other solutions back there, I'm sure. But what we've seen is that these groups that have both email and SMS privileges with you are 2.4x higher likely to purchase from you in their first 30 days. It's one of the highest intent groups when we look at cohorts, ready to buy from a new brand. They're also probably the biggest farm of ROI that any marketer here is going to be able to tap into. This is the group where multi-channel orchestration really works. You can send that cheaper email before you send the more expensive MMS. You can see what they've been doing in the app and tie that into the email to try to drive a cohesive experience across channels. But this is a gold mine for most marketers, and frankly, something that I see a lot of people not tapping into currently. Now, personalization is a main lifeline of groups like Attentive and Movable at the end of the day. And ever since 2016, Attentive has a single mission statement. We want to help create bespoke shopping experiences between consumers and the brands they love. It's a pretty easy mission statement, if I'm being honest. We started with SMS back in 2016, largely because it was the most direct and personable channel. Engagement is out of control, usually around like a 98% view through. And it also allows for conversational messaging, one-to-one messaging. And we quickly became the global leader in one-to-one mobile messaging, and now we've started to move into other channels. Now, everything we do at Attentive is built on 4 foundational pillars that you can see here. First, everything we build is meant to be enterprise grade. And what does that mean? It really just means that it can sustain load, it can handle large data sets without a ton of latency added. And so we built a solution on top of AWS, a lot of microservices, so we could quickly expand and track based on what we were seeing in the market. Second, everything we do sits on our data platform, a big part of any of these tools out here today. We've built an AI-powered identity graph, allows us to stitch together profiles using device information and other characteristics for consumers, ingesting something like 3,000 trillion data points, which is wild to me, and can obtain a 360-degree view of your customer, so that you always know what your customers are interested in, not interested in, how to market to them in the future. Furthermore, we built a marketing suite, right? That's why we're here. This tool, though, we built with quite favorable funding and a good technology market, if I'm being honest, is designed to be easy to use so that a marketer could have autonomy, take control back of things like personalization, not have to be overtly dependent on technical groups like mine to be able to execute a marketing vision for their brands. And last but certainly not least, and what I think of as the special sauce at Attentive, is the strategic support element. We've made so that every customer on Attentive has a named CSM, that everybody has strategists. All of our implementations are human-led. It allows us to make sure that customers are always starting off on the right foot, and no one shoots themselves in the foot when they're trying to get launched with us. How many people out here have had a bad email migration in the past, right? It's not fun when it takes you 12 days to get through chat to figure that out. Now, all of these tools sit on top of the personalization engine that has the sole purpose of being able to give personalization abilities across any activated channel in the Attentive network, whether that's email, SMS, and soon RCS and push, of which we have customers testing right now as we speak. And furthermore, these all supplement the 3 AI products that you see in front of you right now. AI Grow, which is our top-of-funnel AI solution, all designed around creating a stronger top-of-funnel growth to get you as many subscribers into your list as possible. AI Pro, which I'm going to double-click into in a little bit, which is a toolkit, largely a propensity model, device graphing techniques, just tools to allow you guys to personalize better, obtain better conversion results. And then AI Journeys, Attentive's one-to-one AI-based personalization engine, creates a bespoke SMS at the time of send. We're excited to bring our other channels into that for journey building. Now, this is a slide that I frankly speak to a lot as someone who works in new products at Attentive. It usually comes from an objection that I have to handle quite often that's largely, hey, you guys are really new to the email space. You're really young in this space. Why should we trust you with our email capabilities? And I usually have to define kind of a timeline for how ESPs and different marketing providers have come to market to allow people to see that being early is actually our superpower, really. So in Gen 1, which I like to think of this happened in like the late 90s, early 2000s, we saw an advent of marketing tools that were really designed for you to be able to upload a list, blast out a ton of contacts, right? I'm not going to name any people, but they were really good at exactly targeting what you guys need to be able to send out, right? And they did an amazing job at it, frankly. Now, what happened to Gen 1? They did so well that they ended up getting acquired by large clouds that then acquired more pieces to build out these giant systems that we use today, and they were very, very powerful. But as a result of that, customer experience isn't really the forefront of what they're looking at, right? And it's not as though they're just investing in channels constantly. Now, around 2010, we saw an explosive renaissance of marketing tools that we could like to call out as Gen 2. These kind of coincided with the advent of cloud email and stuff like that. And they all came to market with an idea of, hey, we need to personalize marketing. We need to allow marketers more control in the form of segmentation and basic personalization. Oh my God, people are opening emails on their phones, which was a crazy time to be working in the email industry, to be honest. And some of them did really well. Some of them went public, actually. Some got acquired again. And some of them, frankly, though, are struggling at this point. And now we arrive at Gen 3. And I wouldn't put Attentive as the only Gen 3 provider, to be clear, as a sales engineer. Not that drastically out of touch with this market. But what we see with Gen 3 providers is they're built on this idea that hard things don't require hard tools anymore. You can accomplish one-to-one personalization with AI and machine learning at a rate that you don't have to have a computer science degree to be able to do it. You can start moving away from email being the primary key that we use to identify consumers and start to implement your own client user IDs. Start to use phone number and device tokens and names and things like that. And we've started to really latch on to this idea of moving away from rule-based automation and personalization and more into a world where we can allow AI to do that for us at scale. Now, why would someone choose Attentive email at this point with all the different options that you have out there? I'll keep it really simple. It's because we've been performant in the market so far. Our identification solution, of which we use first-party cookies, device information, click-through, a bunch of third-party and first-party information, allows us to identify and recognize up to 20% more subscribers on site than our competitors right now. We've built something that's extremely easy to use, too. So we're giving autonomy back to the marketer to be able to control their own destiny and go through iterative process themselves, to be able to personalize templates without having to be a master at AmpScript or Handlebars. Furthermore, we give everyone that trusts us with their marketing technology the ability to work with strategists, implementation managers, deliverability consultants, individuals that are set out to drive the best possible performance for them. Now, candidly, this wouldn't be like a Gen 3 pitch or a tech conference in 2025 if I didn't talk about AI to some degree, right? So we are actively releasing AI Pro for email right now. And I wanted to talk a little bit about this tool. It's going to come through some of the case studies we talk about here in a minute. AI Pro is a toolkit for marketers that allows them to get more personalization and conversion out of their existing audiences. And it consists of 4 main components. The first is audience AI. So with audience AI, what we're doing is we're creating a propensity score for every individual subscriber on a marketer's list. That means that when you go to actually send your campaign and you bring in your segment, you can layer over a level of propensity to start to understand how many people should I take out of this list that have no propensity to buy from me? How many people weren't included in my initial segment that actually show really high propensity? AI, frankly, is going to be better than almost anyone in this room at understanding who's most active, who's ready to buy, who's not. Identity AI is our device graph solution, stitching together those 3,000 trillion data points to try to understand who you are based on something like IP or user agent or device at the end of the day. And it's a great way to move away from a reliance on first-party cookies, which often fail, right? They're device and browser specific. They have expiration periods. They can quickly be removed by other services. We have SendTime AI. SendTime AI is our send time optimization tool. This allows us to track every time a user goes to site, who they look like, who also has gone to site and done these things. When are they most likely to buy? When are they most likely to engage? And it allows you to have an individualized send time optimized time, I guess I should say, to be able to target people at the time they're most likely to buy from you. And then finally, everything we do with generative AI, we include brand voice controls, very similar to Movable in that way, where you can actually implement tone, you can tell us what keywords not to use and things like this. But this allows the AI to adapt to sound like the marketer over time, while it's also learning from you constantly, trying to figure out what converted well, what didn't, how do you speak to your customers, do you use emojis, do you not, things like that. This is one group I just wanted to give a quick shout out for. I've worked with Jacob and Kurt for going on 15 years now. But again, this is part of the special sauce of Attentive, if I'm being honest, especially on the email side. We have an in-house deliverability consulting unit that's frankly very on par with like a Validity offering, if you're familiar with that. Some of these guys actually come from Return Path before it was Validity. But what we see is this group, from the moment that you start implementation, is interested in monitoring your deliverability through Google Postmaster tools, SNDS, Inbox Monster back there I saw, a couple other first and third-party solutions. And then that continues after implementation to the point that you're meeting with these groups on a bi-weekly cadence, typically. I also hate the term delivery consultant, to be honest, because it often has a connotation of being like the email police in our industry. These are really kind of conversion doctors or conversion scientists, if you want to. They would love that if I called them that on a daily basis. But this group is hyper interested in helping you audience and select the people that are most likely to buy from you and keep you out of the spam folder. They can also pick up the bat phone when they need to and call people like Yahoo and stuff like that on a needed basis. So into a couple of case studies to give you guys some social proof. Cozy Earth, if anyone's familiar, make ungodly comfortable clothes. If they're here, shout out. This group has actually seen almost a 200% increase in their cart and browse abandonment since they came to Attentive. And one of my favorite stats on that slide that you'll see is that 515x ROI on journey building. It's insanity. Weston over there gave us some props, basically calling out that they were able to see more abandonment messages being sent because of our identification solutions. But also, something that I'm always mindful of, they saw that SendTime AI and Audience AI were actually making better changes than their traditional methods they had been using. And one of the hardest parts of selling marketing software as a Gen 3 provider is, frankly, having marketers change process to get to a better outcome. So it was a huge win for the team. Stonewall Kitchen, you gotta always be understanding who's got the propensity to buy that next aioli, the new fermented vegetables, if you will. They've seen a 35% lift in their email revenue as a result of using the propensity model I talked about earlier. And Monica over there actually called it out as one of the keys to her success so far when she was laying this over her own segmentation. L'Occitane, and I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, I've had to study that a bunch of times, but this individual group has seen an almost 400% increase in their revenue on email since they came over last year. And they did all of that massive increase without experiencing a single outage in the process. And they basically call out that it's been really interesting working with Attentive Email, enhancing their ability to control orchestration across their channels today, and a way that they're working with a support team that helps them immensely. And last but certainly not least, the UGG brand, part of the Deckers family of brands that recently came to us, coming from a massive triggered email provider, has actually been seeing revenue growth on their abandonment triggers after coming to us, which was quite impressive given the state of their technology stack. This individual group simply calls out that migrating to Attentive was efficient, easy, they've seen no drop in revenue, and they've absolutely loved working with our responsive support teams. So, here to dispel a couple myths, we do have email. If you haven't gotten that yet, it's kind of my whole job of being up here on stage for you guys. I don't think being new to email is anything like a weakness. If anything, we have social proof to be able to study with all of our marketers to build a better product. It's kind of our superpower. So if you're interested in learning more, or you want to see if Attentive can increase the revenue of your own platform, or how we could work with a group like Movable Studio, please go ahead and scan that QR code, and we'd be happy to help you out. Thank you very much, everyone. Appreciate you all.